They are happy to be back home. A 10-game homestand. Dan Shulman to Buck Martinez. Hazel May. Beautiful night. Roof wide open here at the Rogers Center as Chris Bassitt gets the call in the first game of this 3-game series between the Blue Jays and the Atlanta Braves, who are off to a great start, 25-12 on the season. One of the reasons why they can really hit. They are second in the majors in slugging, 5th in runs per game. And one of the big reasons for those numbers is Ronald Acuna Jr. is playing at an MVP level right now. So is Sean Murphy, their catcher. And they've got Matt Olson and Austin Riley, two very good hitters in between them. Chris Bassitt coming in off a 7-inning scoreless outing against Pittsburgh his last time out.
Yeah, he allowed just 4 hits against the Pirates, and that's his best start so far this season. He got off to a rough start, but boy, he has settled in nicely lately. He has pitched very well over his last 4 starts. And he'll throw you the kitchen sink, there's no doubt about it. And now he's at a point, this is his 8th start, where everything is kind of coming together. And he will play one pitch off the other pitch, and he reads bats as well as any pitcher in the major leagues.
First time these teams have met since 2021. They did not see each other last year. In 2021, the year the Braves won the World Series, the Blue Jays went 6-0 against them. Beat them 3 times in Atlanta, 3 times in Dunedin. This is the first time the Braves have been to Toronto since 2019. And there's that sinker in there for a strike.
Yeah, man, Ronald Acuna, a terrific hitter, and he has 27 leadoff home runs, most in Braves franchise history.
Just outside 1-1. Those 27 leadoff home runs, the 3rd most in baseball since he's come into the majors. And number 1 is standing out in right field right now. George Springer with 35, Mookie Betts with 28, and Ronald Acuna Jr. with 27. And John Schneider, as he has been asked every day for the last 10-11 days, was asked about how's George Springer feeling, and he said he's feeling better. They are hoping that the off day yesterday and everything, that he's getting his strength back. I still don't know that he's 100%, but he is better than he was on the road trip.
Yeah, I spoke to him in a clubhouse earlier, and I said, how you feeling? Feeling better? No response.
Yeah,
I'm playing, he said.
Yeah, he doesn't have that usual Springer energy, but obviously good enough to be in the lineup. A ground ball down to 3rd, and Matt Chapman will throw out Ronald Acuna Jr.
Nothing quite as pretty as a Chapman rocket across the diamond to start the game. Let's take a look at the outfield defense. Varsho's in left, Kiermaier the Gold Glover in center, and George Springer, as Dan mentioned, back in the outfield and right. Chapman, Bichette on the left side, Merrifield and Guerrero on the right side. Alejandro Kirk back behind the plate, flashing the signs for Chris Bassitt.
And here's Matt Olson. Speaking of Matt Chapman, these two guys were quite a corners combination for a few years on some good Oakland teams, which have been decimated by trades and free agent departures. Olson was picked up by Atlanta in a deal, and they immediately signed him to a long-term contract, as they seem to do, as Alex Anthopoulos seems to do with a lot of the key players that they bring in. But this is a good player, and off to a terrific start this year. 11 home runs and OPS over 900. And just always looks huge and menacing to me in the batter's box.
He is. He doesn't look it, he is. It's interesting, the Oakland A's that are in this ball game. Of course, Bassitt was a teammate of Chapman and Olson's, and then Sean Murphy, the catcher, he was there in Oakland as well. So there's an awful lot of Oakland flavor in this series.
If you're an A's fan watching this game, this has to be a bit of a tough experience to see all these terrific players thriving elsewhere.
Well, the first inning is a challenge for every starting pitcher, but especially when you're facing the Atlanta Braves. They have scored in 16 of their first innings so far this season. They've scored more runs than any club in the first inning. Of course, a lot of that has to do with Ronald Acuna and Olson hitting 1-2 in the top of their order.
Yeah, they have scored 17 more runs than they have allowed in the first inning of games this year. Swing and a miss. Bassitt elevates with a 4-seamer there, but he gets his ex-teammate 2 down.
Yeah, and obviously Bassitt has seen an awful lot of Matt Olson, and Olson is just 1 for 7 now against Bassitt, and you can see the ride on that 4-seam fastball as Olson cuts underneath it. Probably expecting to get the two-seamer or something off speed, and he got surprised by that heater.
So 2 down, and here's the third baseman, Austin Riley, who looks at a strike.
Lots of movement on that two-seamer.
Riley not off to a huge start. You can see about league average numbers, but a guy who has produced at a much higher level than that the last couple of years. In fact, top 7 in MVP votes each of the last 2 years in the National League.
And he's another one of these young Braves that signed to a multi-year contract. When you look at his contract, 10 years, $212 million. That's a pretty good gig.
0-2. And he got him. What a start here for Chris Bassitt. Retiring 3 dangerous hitters in order in the top of the first. This 10-game homestand. What a road trip. What a streak. What a season it has been for Bo Bichette at the plate so far. Hitting .329, 8 home runs, OPS over 900. And the Blue Jays also, John Schneider mentioning before the game, also very encouraged by Brandon Belt and what he is doing lately. You want a challenge? They got a challenge tonight in Spencer Strider.
24-year-old Spencer Strider, he is something else, man. 15.1 strikeouts per 9 innings, and when he's got his slider, he's as tough as anybody. His fastball will average 97. He's basically a 2-pitch pitcher. He'll throw occasionally a changeup, but he rarely throws one to right-handed batters. It's a pitch that he's trying to develop.
That's the slider, and he's out in front of Springer, 0-2.
Yeah, he can use the slider and the fastball to finish off at bats. He's got great command.
He's also got a lot of presence on the mound for a guy who's just in his second year in the big leagues. He had Tommy John surgery in 2019 while he was still in college, and as a result was drafted in the 4th round in 2020 out of Clemson. Hadn't pitched a whole lot. And as soon as he got into professional baseball, Buck, into the Atlanta system, he just blew through the minors and actually made 1 appearance at the end of the 2021 season. Late May last year was moved into the rotation for the Braves, and he's been as good as there's been ever since.
I love what they did with Strider in the season last year. He began the season, he made the ball club out of spring training, and then they used him out of the bullpen. He made 11 appearances out of the bullpen before he earned his first start.
And he gets Springer to swing and a miss at a slider, down and away, 1 down.
Now that's that slider we talked about. His slider is as good as anybody's slider in baseball, and when he's on with it, he can rack up double-digit strikeouts. In this at bat, Springer saw 98 a couple of times, and then that slider just disappears down and away.
So now won't this be a fascinating matchup? Spencer Strider and Bo Bichette.
I talked to Bo about his approach tonight. He says, I'm looking hard. He throws hard. I'm thinking hard.
2-0.
Bo's got a tremendous attitude. Obviously, he is one of the best hitters in baseball. And he says, you know what? One of us has to adjust, whether it's the pitcher or me. And I'm going to stick with my game plan until he makes me adjust. Sitting hard.
3 fastballs so far, and it's 2-1.
I think this is the best matchup in sports. Great pitcher against one of the best hitters in the game. 1-on-1.
And another fastball, 2-2.
And Bo said if he executes and locates his pitch at 98, I got to tip my cap to him. Boy, I like that. Fastball hitter, fastball pitcher. They're testing each other.
Strider does not nibble. He's in the strike zone as much as just about any pitcher in baseball. And again with plus stuff. Another fastball and another foul off. This is fun.
Now, and you know what? I love this about Strider. He knows his best pitch is a fastball. And he knows if he locates it and gets it where he wants to, he'll probably win the battle. And
then the slider to get him, 2 down.
You don't have to throw every single pitch as a slider. When you got a fastball like that, you only need to throw one per at bat. And that's exactly what he's done to the first two hitters. You can see the downward break on that slider. That's a true slider right there, and it's hard. It's a firm pitch, and he has struck out the first two in this game.
Now Vladimir Guerrero Jr., who just hit the catcher Sean Murphy with a backswing. So Laz Diaz will dust off the plate to give Murphy a little time to collect himself and make sure he's okay. Looked like Vlad may have been guessing on that first pitch.
Yeah, he's looking heated.
And it's 0-2 here. He's gotten a couple of sliders.
You know, when you have a catcher who's in his first season with the team, it takes a while to get really comfortable with these pitchers, and Sean Murphy is in that situation coming over from Oakland. But he's got a couple of real good mentors on his team. First of all, the backup catcher Travis d'Arnaud, and then Sal Fasano, and there's d'Arnaud and Sal Fasano right there, and they're watching Murphy behind the plate.
Strider strikes out the side here in the bottom of the first. No score after an inning. Up to a 24-13 start on the season. And it looks like we have a timeout called by Sean Murphy before his at-bat even begins. The catcher and cleanup hitter for Atlanta.
Battery mates having a little bit of a chat. Chris Bassitt and Sean Murphy facing each other.
And Bassitt pitched to Murphy for a couple of years as members of the A's. And Bassitt will start him with a strike. So
Bassitt is calling his own game again. He's got the PitchCom on his hip, on his belt.
Late on that one, 0-2. In December, a 3-team trade involving Oakland, Atlanta, and Milwaukee brought Sean Murphy to the Braves. 4 players went the other way from Atlanta. And a swing and a miss. Looked like he kept sitting on something else and kept being late on the fastball.
Yeah, that's when you get in trouble, when you think, oh, I know this pitcher, so I'm going to guess with him. And that's a four-seam fastball. He just elevates up and away, and Murphy is late on it. How about 3 strikeouts in a row to start the game for Bassitt?
Yeah, there have been 7 batters in the game, and only one of them has made contact, and that was Ronald Acuna Jr., who grounded out to third. Here's the left fielder, Eddie Rosario. It's an easy 2-hopper to Whit Merrifield, and quickly 2 down.
You know what's beautiful about baseball? You can have 2 pitchers who are totally different match up and throw nothing but strikes. Bassitt throws 8 different pitches. Spencer Strider throws 2. And they can dominate lineups. I don't know what he needs to look at. So far, so good.
Yep. Here's Ozzie Albies, the second baseman. A switch hitter hitting .272. And don't let his stature fool you. He's about 5'8", 170. He's got 9 home runs already this year. And has hit as many as 30 in a season. This is his weaker side, and he hits an easy 2-hopper to second. And Chris Bassitt has a pretty easy top of the second.
Stolen bases. Now, Acuna told me Vladdy is an incredible player. Offensively, he's amazing. Defensively, he's amazing. What can I say? But he is a superstar. Guys, it's a mutual admiration society.
You took the words right out of my mouth, Hazel. It is that exactly. And you can understand why. Like, everybody at the major league level is a pretty special talent, but then there's the inner circle guys right up at the top of the pyramid, and those are 2 of them. We were talking off the air before the game. You can make a case Ronald Acuna Jr. might be the most talented player in baseball.
Yes, for all of those things Hayes just talked about, what he can do in so many different aspects of the game.
And Strider strikes out Dalton Varsho on 3 pitches. Strider has now struck out all 4 Blue Jays he's faced.
Yeah, we mentioned when Strider has his slider, he can rack up double-digit strikeouts in a heartbeat, but he's got the elevated fastball there. He just blows it by Varsho. He struck out the side in the first inning, all on sliders, and here his first strikeout in the second inning is an elevated fastball. I don't think he needs a pitch clock.
It feels to me, you tell me, like Strider's a guy, if you put him back in the 70s or something, he'd have fit right in. You know, guys just coming at you, working fast, power stuff. Here it is. Let's see if you can hit it.
Yeah, and I talked to Rick Kranitz today, the pitching coach for the Atlanta Braves, and he called him a fire plug. He said he just comes at you. He believes he can beat anybody.
Matt Chapman lifts one into shallow right field. And Acuna there, 2 down.
But you're right. You could plug this guy in onto any team. It doesn't make any difference because he throws strikes. He throws strikes with his fastball. He locates his fastball. He understands. And, you know, to get back to how they developed him, as I mentioned, last year he started the season in the bullpen. He made 11 appearances before he got his first start on May 30th. And then wound up finishing second in the Rookie of the Year voting.
To his teammate, Michael Harris II. Here's Alejandro Kirk getting the start behind the plate tonight. Blue Jays looking for Kirk to get going. He's been hitting the ball in the ground a lot lately. Has not quite looked like the Alejandro Kirk certainly from the first half of last year when he was on an absolute tear. But obviously there's a lot of talent here, and the Blue Jays have seen it going back to the shortened COVID season in 2020 that he can swing the bat. And as you can see, he does well against fastballs, and he does well against fastballs that have a lot of velocity.
Yeah, this particular fastball might have an exclamation point on it.
This is a capital F fastball. Grounded to the right side. Olsen has it and feeds Strider at the bag. And the Blue Jays are retired in order. 6 up, 6 down for both pitchers so far. What went wrong? He doesn't dwell on what he did well. He loves to dive into what didn't go well to try to do it better the next time, the next season. Here's Travis d'Arnaud as Bassett tries to flip a curveball in there for a strike and doesn't get the call. Former Blue Jay farmhand way back when. Came over to the Blue Jays in a deal for Roy Halladay when Halladay went to Philadelphia, and then left the Blue Jays when they made a trade. Woo! That thought will have to hold as Kevin Kiermaier makes another one of his patented sliding catches in center field.
Well, that's always a tough play for an outfielder when you see a hitter take a big swing and then he gets jammed and flares it into the outfield. Kiermaier, watch his reaction in center field. Boom, there's a little bit of a hesitation, but he's got such tremendous acceleration. He closes ground on it and makes a terrific play. So he saves a base hit right there with terrific effort in center field. He had to freeze for a minute to make sure it wasn't hit hard, and then once he recognized it was a little flare, he really closed ground and made some nice catch.
You know, he's a 33-year-old who still looks like he runs around out there like a 26-year-old, doesn't he?
Well, you know what? He's been energized by this new atmosphere on this team. He's playing on a very good team and a wonderful atmosphere here at Rogers Center.
This is Michael Harris II, the reigning Rookie of the Year in the National League a season ago. Hit .297, 19 homers, stole 20 bases last year. Off to a slower start this year, as you can see. We were watching his round of batting practice. He's got what they call easy power. Like, he takes a swing like that. That one was foul, but it winds up in the second deck.
Yeah, he's got a real nice swing, and he's just 22 years old. He has been signed to a long-term deal as well.
And a diving play up the middle by Bo Bichette. back-to-back terrific defensive plays for the Blue Jays here in the top of the third.
Pitchers will get good defensive support when they throw a lot of strikes, because the hitters are always putting the ball in play, and then the defense is always on their toes to make good plays. Bo got a good read on this ball, breaks to his left and makes a nice diving catch to that liner. Here's a liner into the outfield, but Bo's there to grab it before it can hit the turf in center field. Kiermaier and Bo helping out Bassitt this inning.
This is Orlando Arcia, the shortstop and number 9 hitter for the Braves. Spent some time on the IL recently when he's been healthy. As you can see, he has done a heck of a job. They have sent a young shortstop, Vaughn Grissom, back down to the minors to make room for Arcia when he came off the IL. He had a fractured left wrist and missed 21 games. Curveball, and he's way out in front of it.
Bassitt's doing a great job of going back and forth with his velocity. We saw Michael Harris II out in front of a breaking ball. He had fouled down the right field line, and here he throws a slow breaking ball, and he has Arcia out in front. Time to elevate that fastball once again.
That's the sweeper right there, the kind of in-between breaking ball between the curve and the harder slider. One of the 8 pitches that Chris Bassitt will throw.
You can see how he gets his hand on the side of the ball and basically throws it like a frisbee.
A full count now on Arcia. It has a question for Laz Diaz, who's always happy to have a conversation behind the plate. As Buck mentioned, you can see Bassitt reaching for the PitchCom transmitter that's on his belt. He calls his own game because of how many different pitches he throws. And he got him. Perfect spot for that two-seamer. That's 9 up, 9 down for Chris Bassitt. He's been doing a lot of the work himself, but he got some help from the guys behind him here in the top of the third. First, a sliding Kevin Kiermaier in shallow center, and then a diving Bo Bichette at short. Receive a mesh hat presented by Ryobi. Go to BlueJays.com/tickets to get yours. So we go to the bottom of the third, and if you like good pitching, you've enjoyed what you've seen so far here tonight. 15 batters have come to the plate, and not a single one of them has reached. This is Brandon Belt, who is one of the 2 Blue Jays to have faced Spencer Strider before. Strider's never faced the Blue Jays, but Dalton Varsho and Brandon Belt each faced him in 1 game last year. Varsho came in 0 for 2 with a walk, struck out tonight. Belt is 1 for 2 with a single against Strider. That's it. At the knees, 2-2.
Brandon Belt had a heck of a road trip. He went 7 for 18 with the 3 doubles and a home run. This is a real test for him because velocity has been his Achilles heel this season.
Ow. Oh, man.
Right on the kneecap with that hard slider.
It felt like he kind of realized it, but thought maybe it would go behind his leg, and then, ooh, right on the knee.
Big breaking slider right on the kneecap. Tell you what, that shows the veteran makeup of Brandon Belt. He didn't even reach down and grab it. He just ran to first base.
So the first base runner of the night comes in painful fashion. And here's Whit Merrifield, hitting .288 on the season.
I really find it interesting, the defense, the way they're aligned, especially at second base with Albies. He's playing up the middle more than you would expect with Strider on the mound, who throws so hard. In Merrifield, he can handle a bat. There's a big gap over there on the right side.
Merrifield choking up as always. Maybe even a little bit more against Strider, and it's 1-2.
Merrifield's had a good run this season with the Blue Jays. He's playing a little bit more like he did in his prime with the Royals. Last year, of course, the midseason trade took him a little while to get going, but now he's really part of this team and earned the right to play every day.
And he chased a slider off the outside corner to strike out, 1 down. Well, you talk about a strike to ball breaking ball. That's it right there, isn't it?
Yeah, it's exactly the definition of that pitch. It starts out in the strike zone and breaks down and away well out of the strike zone and gets Merrifield to chase. Strider has an unusually low arm release point. It's a low arm angle, and that creates extra problems. Not only has he got great stuff, but it's an unusual delivery. It's a little bit low. Generally, you see more high 3/4 deliveries, but Strider's is a little bit lower than that.
Here's Kevin Kiermaier's first look at him, and he lines it just foul. Inches foul down the right field line.
Strider wasn't really happy with the location of that last pitch. Obviously, that was very close to being an extra base hit. The slider, he just pulls it foul by about a foot down the right field line.
That might have been the changeup there. Throws it every now and again to a left-handed batter, and he bounced it in for ball 2.
Yeah, I spoke to Travis d'Arnaud about that changeup, and he said it's developing into a pitch that's going to be pretty prominent. It doesn't have to be a great changeup given the velocity he has on his fastball.
And there's a base hit into right field. Belt around second, then looked over his shoulder, put the brakes on, and the Blue Jays have runners at first and second with 1 out.
Ronald Acuna Jr. in right field has the best right field arm in the big leagues. He's got 4 outfield assists already, and Belt did a good job of not challenging that great arm in right. Kiermaier has 2 good swings during this at bat, and this results in a base hit, first hit of the game. You can see Belt turning and then remembering, hey, that's Acuna out in right field. I'll stay right here at second, thank you.
So the first hit of the ball game for either team, and now here's George Springer again. Springer sat out 2 entire games on the road trip and basically a third. Just had a pinch hitting assignment late in the game. Still trying to regain all his strength. John Schneider said he lost some weight on the trip.
This game is hard enough when you feel great, but boy, it's really challenging when you're battling some kind of bug and you don't have your full strength.
The 0-2. Belt out at second. He was hit by a pitch to begin the bottom of the third. Kiermaier's at first. There's 1 out. And another good slider as he gets Springer again, 2 down.
You can see how he keeps his hand on top of that breaking ball and gets the downward break on the slider. It's a tough pitch, obviously, because it's got so much depth. You know, you talk about the sweeper and how it goes along the plane of the bat, and this is a much more dramatic break on that hard slider.
Now Bo Bichette, who had a 7-pitch at bat against Strider for the first. The first 6 were fastballs. Bo fouled off a couple of them to stay alive, and then Strider got him with a slider to end it. And Strider out in front 0-2 again. Climbed the ladder, and maybe a handful of guys in the big leagues could even foul that pitch off.
He's tremendous when he's got 2 strikes, boy. He can really cover a lot of pitches, and this pitch is up and away, totally out of the strike zone. But he's able to get on top of it and keep the at-bat alive. You know, I asked Bo about his 2-strike approach and the fact that he can handle pitches 6, 8, 10 inches off the plate and foul them off. He said, I don't want to leave that 2-strike at bat in the hands of the umpire.
To right center field, but Harris is there. And the Blue Jays will leave a couple of men on at the bottom of the 3rd.
31 homers and 66 RBIs, as I mentioned at the top of the show. I think he could become the next 40-40 guy. There have only been 4 players to accomplish 40 home runs and 40 stolen bases in a single season.
And another ground ball to 3rd. Chapman knows he has to hurry, and he got him. Acuna pointing into the dugout. We'll see if the Braves challenge. But what a great play by Chapman, and they will not challenge. What a great play by Chapman, well aware of the speed that Acuna possesses.
Boy, he's got a great arm, even on the run. He doesn't get a lot on his plant foot, but he's able to use his arm strength for the out. And Vladdy with a big stretch, and you can see the foot is in the air when the ball hits his glove.
Now Matt Olson swings at the first pitch. And he has popped it a mile high for Bichette back in shallow center, and that is out number 2.
Now, there have been 3 fine defensive plays in support of Chris Bassitt so far. Kiermaier and Bo Bichette last inning. Matt Chapman to start this inning, throwing out Ronald Acuna Jr. And like I said, when your pitcher's throwing a lot of strikes, the defense is on their toes.
2 pitches, 2 outs. Austin Riley taking 1 or maybe 2 here, just to help out his pitcher a little bit.
Yeah, that's a possibility, but at the same time, you think Bassitt's probably thinking the same thing, and he's got enough power to sit on one.
Fouled off 0-2. Acuna wants to check out the swing and maybe the play by Chapman as well.
One thing you can see, obviously, Strider has made the Blue Jay hitters uncomfortable with his velocity, but Bassitt has made the Braves hitters uncomfortable with the combination of pitches. Changing speeds, changing locations, giving them a wide variety of pitches to think about. There haven't been too many good swings from the Braves lineup so far.
Guerrero's got it and feeds Bassitt, who beats Riley to the bag by a step. And the Braves go in order again, and again a combination of good pitching and good defense. This time it's Matt Chapman getting in on the act.
That was a terrific play.
No score, bottom 4.
Wouldn't you love to see the fastball connect with the swing?
The folks in the WestJet Flight Deck might get a souvenir if Laddie catches up to one of those 98s up at the belt.
Lots of conversation going on in the dugout with the hitters as they're facing Strider for the first time. Remember, only Belt and Varsho have had previous at-bats against Spencer Strider, so there's a lot of information being exchanged.
And Bassitt threw only 6 pitches in the top of the 4th, which means that Strider was not sitting in the dugout for very long. Doesn't appear to have taxed him, though, so far here in the bottom of the fourth, as he's up to 99 now.
You know, he's not a very big guy. He's listed at 6 foot, but when you look at him standing on the mound, he looks like a downhill skier. Look at the thighs. Looks like a bike racer and a downhill skier with tremendous quads.
Popped up back of first, and Matt Olson is there. Let's go to Hazel May.
Dan, you mentioned that Dalton Varsho was the other Blue Jay to have faced Strider, and he told me that Strider's got this different looking fastball. That's why he's one of the best in the game. He's one of those guys, he said, that you've got to think above the baseball, because if you don't, you'll miss the fastball. He makes you feel like you're right on that heater, but then you end up clipping it. He said Strider's able to do stuff with that baseball you're not supposed to do in this league, guys.
Hazel, thank you. Yeah, he's one of those guys where hitters will say things like that extra hop or that little finish, and he's 98. It's not like he needs extra hop, but the hitters will tell you there's just something a little bit different about it. Talked to Dave Hudgens, one of the hitting coaches for the Blue Jays, and he said one of the things he's trying to tell the hitters, don't try to do too much. Just try to do what you can. If you try to do too much with it, I mean, he can just toy with you.
Well, he'll supply the power. All you got to do is get the barrel on it, which is a lot harder than you would think.
And a swing and a miss to get Varsho 2 down. That is now 7 strikeouts for Strider.
He has got such an easy delivery, and you can see that four-seam grip. It's got that carry right through the zone, and like Varsho said and Hazel explained, you got to swing on top of that fastball if you hope to catch up to it. That's what's so amazing about the ball that Bo fouled off. It was probably 10 inches above the strike zone, and he still got a piece of it.
Matt Chapman flied out to right his first time up. Everybody wants to get as much information as they can to try to figure out how to deal with this guy right now. 61 pitches, 44 strikes.
I mean, look at these thighs on this kid. He's got huge thighs. It's just like Eric Heiden, a speed skater.
Eric Heiden.
I mean, that's where he gets his power from.
He doesn't miss a leg day, does he? And he gets Chapman. He is just overpowering. 4 scoreless, 8.
Philadelphia.
That's right. Some of the Blue Jay relievers thought that launching hot dogs around in Philadelphia wasn't such a great idea. They like things being a little tamer here than they are in Philadelphia. Well, if you're just joining us, if you've been watching the Maple Leaf game, we know they are at intermission right now. No score in the 5th. Chris Bassitt has retired all 12 he's faced. Spencer Strider's given up 1 hit and has struck out 8. And Bassitt has been doing what Bassitt does, Buck, which is mix, let's say 7 of the 8 pitches. Doesn't throw the splitter very much at all, but at least 7 pitches liberally so far in this game.
Yeah, he's been rock solid, and this is a trend now. He had 4 good starts in a row coming into this game tonight, and he's carried that momentum right into this ballgame.
This is down and away 2-2 to Sean Murphy, who struck out his first time up. National League Player of the Week last week, Sean Murphy.
Sean Murphy and Dalton Varsho played against each other in college. Murphy went to Wright State and Varsho went to University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee. They were both in the Horizon League, and they were both catchers at that time. So they've known each other for quite a while, going back to their college days.
Boy, because he doesn't throw all that many four-seam fastballs, even though it's not 98 like Strider, they don't get clean swings at it because he's put so many other pitches in their mind.
Yeah, and I think that's the beauty of this game tonight is the different styles equally effective. There's only been one hit in the game.
Now a single to right by Kevin Kiermaier. Curveball and a beauty to get him. One down.
And you can see the hesitation in the swing of Murphy. Like he got out there and then realized it's a slow breaking ball and he still couldn't make contact. What a great time to throw this slow hook. 71 miles an hour. He set it up perfectly. Over the top spin, that 12-6 break, and Murphy had no chance. Another look at this last pitch, the curveball, as he gets on top of it, and look at that dramatic break. Remember years ago when people used to say that curveball is an illusion?
Right.
Yeah, it doesn't really break.
What were they looking at?
Tell that to Sean Murphy.
There's a fair ball down the right field line. That'll be the first hit of the night for the Braves, and it'll be a double for Eddie Rosario.
Rosario with his 7th double of the season, grounded out to the second baseman his first time up. Trying to get this fastball upstairs and didn't elevate it quite as well as he has earlier in this game, and Rosario hits it down the right field corner.
So Rosario at second, one out, and here's Ozzie Albies, who grounded out to second his first time up.
With that hit, Rosario extends his hit streak to 9 straight. Each club with a single hit.
Did that hit him, or did he somehow get out of the way of it? If it hit him, he goes to first, and Rosario goes back to second. And yes, it did hit him, as Albies will head down the line.
I don't know if Laz Diaz ever called hit by a pitch. Take a look at this pitch, and it hits his left foot. It clearly does, but I don't know that Diaz ever made the sign, but you could see it clearly hits him. So Rosario will go back to second, and Albies will end up at first.
He didn't know which leg to try to get out of the way of that first. He succeeded with the right leg, but couldn't get the left leg out of the way. Here's Travis d'Arnaud, who hit a little flare to shallow center, and Kevin Kiermaier came in to make a sliding catch. One of a number of very good defensive plays the Blue Jays have already made behind Bassett. And there goes the runner from second. Throw from Kirk, the tag, and they got him. Alejandro Kirk throws out Eddie Rosario.
Well, Kirky made a terrific throw. That's just the 4th time he's caught a base stealer. But boy, look at Rosario. He gets a good jump at second base, a walking lead, but he throws a strike, and Chapman puts the tag on him. That's a very good way to make the throw. You could see that Kirk went behind the batter and threw a strike, and Chapman puts the tag on him before Rosario could get to the bag.
Boy, what a big play that is.
And Rosario had a decent jump. He had a walking lead and broke when Bassett made the move. It's a balk. That's a balk. Now Bassett is saying that somebody asked for time, but he stepped off the rubber as he was beginning to go into his set position, and he is called for a balk.
And not thrilled about that, as you can see.
You know what? He was saying that the batter wasn't in the box, and that's what he was thinking about. I think that's why he pointed toward home plate.
So runner at second, 2 down, and an 0-1 count on d'Arnaud, who went around. It's 0-2. Bassett effective and efficient so far tonight. Just 52 pitches through 4 2/3. Tried another change, but he missed down and in. Ball one. Nice Friday night crowd here at the ballpark, making lots of noise. Roof opens, scoreless game between the Blue Jays and the 25-12 Atlanta Braves. And that hit him. Two-seam fastball got away from Bassitt, and that's his second hit batter here in the inning.
That hit d'Arnaud somewhere on his hand or wrist, and it hit him pretty flush. And he kind of moved his hands right into that pitch, and it looks like a two-seam fastball that runs up and in, and boy, that hit him in a tough spot. Right on the wrist, just above that wrist joint, and hit him flush on that left arm.
And Brian Snitker, the manager for the Braves, is out to check on d'Arnaud.
d'Arnaud just came off the IL because he was on there with a concussion and spent quite a long time on the IL.
Bassitt had only hit 3 batters coming into the game. Buck, and he's hit 2 back-to-back here in the 5th inning of this one.
Well, the one that hit Albies was a big breaking ball that he just overcooked and hit Albies on the foot, and that two-seamer, d'Arnaud just kind of moved his hands and the ball ran in on him, and then it hit him flush on that left arm.
So first and second, 2 down for the number 8 hitter, Michael Harris II. Chases a changeup off the outside corner.
Really an interesting number there. 2 outs and runners in scoring position. Atlanta heading under 200.
For a team that's doing a lot of things really well so far this year. They've won the division 5 years in a row, and they are just loaded with talented young players. All kinds of guys as young as Harris, 22, and all the way up through their 20s. Throw down to second, but back in safely is Albies.
Yeah, it's not a bad time to put a pickoff play on because the runner from second base with 2 outs is working to get a big secondary lead. Watch how he bounces off way toward third base, and Bo breaks in behind the bag. I would say Bo probably put that pickoff play on, seeing Albies get aggressive.
Now 3-1. Bassitt retired the first 13 batters he's faced, but now struggling with his command. A couple of hit batters here this inning and behind on Harris. And that stays high. Threw him a 3-1 curveball, and that'll load the bases.
That's what buds do.
The Blue Jays and Braves opening up a weekend series here on this Friday night at Rogers Center, where the Braves have the bases loaded with 2 outs in the 5th inning for their number 9 hitter Orlando Arcia. Kirk and Bichette on the mound having a conversation with Bassitt.
Yeah, as soon as Kirk made his move toward the mound, Bo sprinted in from shortstop to make sure he's in on what they're trying to do in this situation to help him position himself at short. He'll pass that information along to Matt Chapman at third.
Inside, ball 1. The way Diaz is looking at Arcia after that pitch. High ball 2.
Boy, all of a sudden he's kind of lost his release point after being so keen with his command early in this game. I mean, he was hitting the corners with everything.
Nine of his last 10 pitches have missed the strike zone. There's one in the strike zone. Will it stay in play down the line? Springer into foul territory, makes the catch. And Bassett gets out of it. Let's get an update with Jamie Campbell as the Blue Jays come up here in the bottom of the 5th. Spencer Strider has given up the 1 single to Kevin Kiermaier. He's hit a batter, has not walked anybody, and he has struck out 8. Alejandro Kirk grounded out his first time up and laces one foul down the line. It's 0-1.
We talk about what a good fastball hitter Kirk is. He got out in front of that pitch and hooked it just foul.
After Kirk, it'll be Belt and Merrifield. Whoa! And we'll get him scrambling.
Remember when they first introduced these nets and everybody going, boy, that's not going to be a good idea. Boy, it's been a great idea because of the bats and the balls that go shooting into the seats, and it protects all the fans. And I don't think there's been a fan that's concerned about the decreased visibility. I think the nets have become quite acceptable.
A Strider strikeout note with 8 tonight. It is 12 games in a row that he has struck out 8 or more. It goes back to last year. Only 5 other pitchers in Major League history have done that. Kirk makes some contact, but it is playable in foul territory for Riley. 1 down. Randy Johnson, Shane Bieber, Pedro Martinez, Corey Kluber, and Nolan Ryan are the only other pitchers to ever strike out 8 or more in 12 consecutive games.
Yeah, it just speaks to how good he is at a very young age, just 24 years old. And relatively inexperienced in innings as well, but you got to tip your cap to Atlanta for developing him and getting him into the big leagues very quickly.
Here's Brandon Belt, who was hit by a pitch, took a slider off the knee his first time up. And the Braves really need everything they can get from Spencer Strider because they are dealing with injuries in their rotation. Just in the last week, they have put both Max Fried with a forearm issue and Kyle Wright with a shoulder issue on the IL. And each of them, Buck, is expected to be out a couple of months.
Yeah, they expect Fried to come back near the middle of July, but they're not so optimistic about Kyle Wright. He's got a shoulder issue, and traditionally those last a lot longer. And the Braves have been pretty good in managing the absence of 2 of their premier starters. You know, early on, Hazel May talked about Mike Soroka, the Canadian, that's been injured the last couple of years, but Brian Snitker told me today they're going to be very, very patient with Soroka and let him pitch a lot in the minors before they even challenge him to come to the big leagues. He hasn't pitched in almost 2.5 years in the big leagues.
Swing and a miss, 2 down as we go down to the field in Hazel May.
Just adding to what Buck said, you know, Alex Anthopoulos was on the Blair and Barker show, and he said that Soroka pitched last night in Nashville for AAA Gwinnett. He allowed 3 earned runs over 4 innings while striking out 3. Now, he threw 73 pitches, 43 for strikes. He's been up and down. Anthopoulos said Soroka is making progress. He's hitting 95, but as Buck said, they want to make sure he gets his reps in. Guys?
Yeah, with him having missed so much time, tore his Achilles not once but twice, and then a hamstring injury this spring. Really good pitcher, and you want to make sure you give him every chance to come back healthy, as Whit Merrifield has the Blue Jays' second hit of the night.
Yeah, and Brian Snitker, a longtime manager, longtime organizational man with the Braves, has stayed in touch with Bobby Cox, who has suffered a stroke, and he visited him this week. And Cox mentioned, absolutely mentioned Soroka's name. Snitker was surprised, but Bobby follows the Braves, and he recognized that they were down a couple of pitchers, and he said Soroka when Snitker visited him, and that's the first thing he said in months.
Your manager from your early playing days here in Toronto.
Wow, one of the best in the game ever, Bobby Cox, and unfortunately he suffered that stroke and hasn't been able to communicate very often, but Brian Snitker stays in touch with him and goes and visits him often.
Merrifield back in. Well, you never know in this kind of a game. Nobody's getting anything off the pitchers, and an aggressive runner. Maybe you try it if you're Witt.
Absolutely. Get comfortable working for a big lead.
Not going. And it's 1-2 now on Kiermaier.
Murphy behind the plate has got a strong arm, but he's only caught 6 of 24 base stealers this year. Pitcher's not giving him a real legitimate shot at throwing him out. He's got one of the strongest arms from behind the plate in all of baseball.
Ooh, and that easily could have had the Braves back in the dugout.
Yeah, this ball ran off the inside corner, but that suggests that it might have been strike 3. Boy, Strider's really unloading the ball in a hurry. Not much of a chance for Merrifield at first base to get a jump. Witt's 7 for 8 in steals. But Strider comes set and then really unloads in a hurry. Very abbreviated delivery with a runner at first.
The count remains 2-2 on Kiermaier. There goes Merrifield. Pitches outside and there's no throw.
Boy, he guessed right there. Pitch was off the plate and he bounced off once and got a pretty good jump at first base. He took the lead and then bounced off. Watch how he moves right here, and then his momentum is going towards second. No chance for Murphy even to make a throw. 8 for 9.
And ball 4 to Kiermaier. And if nothing else, even if they don't score here this inning, you look and here's Strider Buck at 80 pitches through 4 2/3. So even if he keeps getting outs, he might only have 6 innings in him tonight.
Yeah, when you look at his pitch totals, he's thrown over 100 pitches 3 different times this season. Merrifield broke his belt on that slide at second base, so he'll get a new belt.
Boy, that got out there fast. They got belts in the dugout?
They got belts everywhere. They got one as their DH and several in reserve. Somebody will just take a belt off and run it out there.
So first and second, 2 down for George Springer, who has struck out in each of his 2 at-bats against Strider.
First pitch, slider. I would have done the same thing Springer did. I would have just guessed on a fastball and taken a whack at it with a runner in scoring position at second. But Strider crossed him up.
Well, Springer has seen a lot of sliders tonight from Strider. Say that 10 times fast. A lot of sliders from Strider tonight. And just trying to find some green, as they say. Got some good base runners aboard. And Merrifield, it's a big part of the game for Witt. It's not just the stolen base. It's all of the other ways he tries to get in the head of the pitcher.
Yeah, and you can see he's really focused on the pitcher as Strider is focused on him as well.
Maybe it gets Springer a better pitch to hit. Like that. Fastball down the middle and a base hit to left. Merrifield on his way home and will score the first run of the night. Springer on his way to second. Kiermaier on his way home. Safe. How much fun was that?
He made a good call, Dan. The distraction of that runner in second got Springer a pitch to hit. Merrifield doing a good job not only stealing a base to get into scoring position, but getting in the head of Strider. And then Springer pulls one through the left side. 2 out running. Merrifield's got terrific speed. The throw's offline. He scores easily. But then Kiermaier comes in from third base and slides ahead of the tag. Kevin Kiermaier never ever concedes anything. Always looking to take an extra base.
And the Braves challenging the call at home plate.
That's one aspect that has been so improved for the Blue Jays this year is their base running. And here's the play at the plate. The return throw from second, and boy, it looked like he might have tagged him on the shoulder.
Yeah, did he get him on the shoulder blade there
yeah.
before the arm got down?
Boy, I tell you, it was so difficult for the umpire, Elias Diaz, to make.
After review, the call is overturned. The runner is out. Atlanta retains his challenge.
So the Blue Jays get 1 instead of 2, but still have a 1-0 lead at the end of 5.
Pull up to your crib, no hesitation.
In the 5th inning to make it a 2-2 game. All 4 runs have come on home runs at Yankee Stadium tonight.
Ronald Acuna Jr. is going to drop one into shallow center for a base hit here to begin the top of the 6th.
Acuna Jr. gets a cut fastball. That ball is going to spin and back up on the inside part of the plate. Actually gets jammed as he hit it down near the label of the bat, but flares it into center field. A leadoff base hit here in the 6th, and he's the threat to run.
He's got 15 stolen bases already. That is 2nd in the major leagues. Here's Matt Olson, 0 for 2. Strike 1 called.
Eric Young is the first base coach for Atlanta, and he's really been helpful giving Acuna some tips about stealing a base. And look at the position of Young. Basically taking a position like a base runner, studying the pitcher on the mound. Oftentimes you'll see that first base coach in the coaching box and just in line with first and second base, but Eric Young studying Bassett as if he were the base runner, trying to pick up on something that might help Acuna.
Stole over 400 bases in his major league career, Eric Young Sr. A little high, 2-1 on Matt Olson. And Bassett gets a call, 2-2.
Yeah, Olson, he didn't like that at all. You could see his reaction after hearing the umpire Elias Diaz called strike.
And Olson will use his timeout. These guys teammates for 6 years as members of the Oakland A's, Bassett and Olson. Runner goes, and it's fouled off by Olson.
Olson and Bassett really have very similar personalities. Neither one of them very outgoing. They're very professional about the way they go about their business, and they kind of just lead by example. And they have spent a lot of time together, as Dan mentioned, with the Oakland A's.
Guerrero holding on Acuna, who's likely to be going again. Draws a throw. And I think we're going to see 3 days of this, of Guerrero and Acuna having fun when Acuna's at first base.
Yeah, he said, now you can't play me over there. Look at you, stand right over there. I'm supposed to run to second. What are you doing?
And Vladdy trying to block his view. Acuna not going, and it's ball 4 to Olson. So first and second, nobody out.
This is one thing that has been kind of an issue for Chris Bassitt, is the base on balls. His walk rate, 4.5 walks per 9 innings this season, much higher than the last couple of years, and I think that's one thing that's going to improve as the season goes on. But he's given up a lot of walks, unusual for the way he has pitched in the past.
So now another dangerous hitter in Austin Riley, although 0 for 2 tonight on a strikeout and a ground out. Don't let those numbers fool you. 33 homers 2 years ago, 38 last year. As Bassitt jumps out in front. Hit down to Chapman. He'll run to third for 1 and get him at first to turn the double play.
Wow. You don't realize how difficult this play is, because the natural reaction is to go around the horn and turn 2. But in this tight ball game, Chapman recognized he had enough time to beat the runner to the bag at third and still get enough on the throw to complete the double play. Man, it is bang bang at first, but he knows his base runner, Riley, running from home plate. He's got enough arm strength to throw him out. That's a terrific play.
And a pretty good stretch by the first baseman, too.
I tell you, the Blue Jays have really played a good game defensively tonight. Here's the stretch by Guerrero, who has really become a premier first baseman. We saw a great play earlier in the game on a feed to Bassitt covering first, and that stretch right there helped out Chapman.
Line drive left field. Varsho's there. Murphy and the Braves retired in the top of the 6th. Oh, that Bo has. Here's a Blue Jays fan in person watching the baseball game, but also checking out the Maple Leafs at the same time. Staying locked in. Lots going on here in downtown Toronto. The Blue Jays up 1-0. It's been an outstanding pitchers duel. The Blue Jays have also played some sterling defense tonight. Bo Bichette has struck out and lined out. He checked it. Ball 1. And that's a little bit more of the plate, I think, than Strider intended to get in that count.
Yeah, and his pitch count's getting up there. He's thrown 86 pitches now, and we mentioned he's thrown over 100 3 different times this season.
No sign of any activity in the Atlanta pen. And he gets Bichette for strikeout number 10 on the night.
Another strikeout for Spencer Strider. That'll give him 10, another double-digit strikeout game. And boy, he gets a lot of depth on that slider. Right over the top, and you honor the fastball at 97, 98 miles an hour, and he gets you to chase.
Here's Vladdy, who has struck out and popped up. And it's 1-2. I'm glad he didn't allow that call.
What you say as a hitter right there is this guy doesn't need any help, Mr. Umpire. He's pretty good on his own. 7 of the 9 Blue Jays have struck out against Strider tonight. Only Alejandro Kirk and Kevin Kiermaier have avoided punching out against Strider.
In the air to right center, but not deep. Where is it? They don't know. Acuna lost it. And Guerrero standing at second base.
I don't know if either one of them saw it. Michael Harris the second or Acuna. It looked like Acuna had a beat on it the way he went after it, but you can see it's a tough sky here early in the evening. And Acuna came in like he's got a beat on it right here. Looks like he's looking up like I got it, I got it, I got it. He never saw it. Harris never saw it. He had his hands in the air. And by the time they recognize that it's behind them, Vladdy ends up at second base with a pop-up double.
Wow.
But it looked to me like Acuna had a beat on it the way he came after it.
And normally when one guy can't see it, the other guy can, and then you get a little help out there. But both of them lost it in the twilight. It is scored a double for Guerrero. And can the Blue Jays take advantage? Varsho has struck out swinging in each of his 2 at-bats.
On that pitch right there, that 4-seam fastball, top of the zone.
Varsho's seen 9 pitches, all fastballs. And this is clearly the book. Joe Siddall talked about it a lot. On the road trip, you could see teams going at Varsho with fastballs up in the zone and trying to get a little bit in on his hands as well.
But he's made an adjustment in May as he's come around a bit, swinging the bat.
And he got him again.
Bring the colors of the ballpark to your home with Beauty Tone Paint's Toronto Blue Jays collection. Only at Home Hardware and Building Centers. Here's how.
Glad you're with us tonight. The Blue Jays and the Atlanta Braves opening up a series. Good ball game. 1-0 bottom 6. Runner at second, 2 down for Matt Chapman, who has flied out and struck out. Only 2 Blue Jays have not struck out tonight. Alejandro Kirk and Kevin Kiermaier. To center, but playable for Harris. And the inning is over. 1-0 Blue Jays at the end of.
A couple of nice meals, and it was a pretty special trip. And my 2 new pals from North Bay, it's pretty awesome. We had a great time.
Good stuff. On to the 7th in a 1-0 game. Eddie Rosario has grounded out and doubled. He has one of the 2 Atlanta hits on the night. Acuna reliving that play where he lost the ball, telling Ozzie Albies, I was worried that was going to hit me.
He's pretty animated.
He is, always. Well, here's one in the air for Dalton Varsho, but it looks like he sees it, and he does.
Yeah, I think the one thing Acuna could have done was let everybody know that he didn't see it, and maybe Michael Harris then would look a little closer and a little harder trying to locate that ball, but it didn't have any effect on it as Vladdy was stranded at second base.
They're reliving it now. Albies and Acuna. Excuse me, Albies is at bat. That is Acuna. There's a liner to right. Albies lines it right at George Springer, and very quickly 2 down here in the Atlanta 7th.
Boy, Bassett's been terrific. 78 pitches to this point in the ball game, and he is working with 2 outs in the 7th. This is vintage Chris Bassitt. This is what the Blue Jays thought they were getting when they signed him, and he is living up to expectations.
You know, he came into the game with a 4.28 ERA, but in his last 6 starts, which means removing the first one of the season in St. Louis when he gave up 9 runs, in his last 6 coming in, a 2.45 ERA, including 7 scoreless innings his last time out.
Yeah, he can really pitch, and obviously everybody was a bit caught off guard with his first outing in St. Louis. He gave up 4 home runs in that game, including 3 in the first inning. But as he said at that time, it's a long season, and I'm going to make 33 regular season starts probably, and hopefully 4 or 5 in the postseason. So I'll just wear that one.
1-2 on Travis d'Arnaud. Flied out to center, and also he has been hit by a pitch. And the first sign of either bullpen getting going tonight. Left-hander Danny Young is now up in the Atlanta pen, with potentially a couple of left-handed batters coming up for the Blue Jays in the bottom half of the inning. Golfed up in foul territory, and no play for Guerrero, despite a good effort trying to get there before the ball got into the netting.
Vladdy gets over there, and the ball, I don't know if it hit the netting first or not, but it was just beyond his reach, reaching over the fence.
Bassitt checking with Guerrero to make sure he is back and ready to go. And John Schneider, Don Mattingly starting to make some decisions. Schneider going over to talk to Pete Walker. It's that time of the night. And Pete's on the phone. It's like Jimmy Garcia just now starting to throw, and somebody else may join him. That's and held on to by Kirk as d'Arnaud strikes out. And it is 7 scoreless innings for Chris Bassitt.
A heck of a ball game here. Both pitchers doing their thing, and Spencer Strider has racked up the strikeouts. The Statcast is powered by Google Cloud. We're going to show you those 11 strikeouts. 7 have come on the slider, 4 on the 4-seam fastball. You can see he's elevating that fastball and then throwing that slider down and away. Very effective combination for basically a 2-pitch pitcher.
His season high in strikeouts is 13. His career high was last September the 1st, 16 against Colorado. Kirk with a roller down to third. 1 down.
Well, this is old-fashioned baseball, isn't it?
It is.
Pitchers pitching into the 7th inning. What's going on with this? I love it. And we talk about it all night long. The contrasting styles of the 2 pitchers. Strider with that terrific fastball and wipeout slider, and Chris Bassitt with a tremendous assortment, a great feel for pitching tonight all night long.
Brandon Belt, the batter. He's been hit by a pitch and has also struck out. Drive and a fair ball down the right field line. Belt on his way to second and in there with a double.
We had mentioned how Brandon Belt had heated up on that last road trip, and he had 3 doubles on the road trip, and he hits one down into the right field corner. This is a slider that didn't break. It just kind of spun out over the middle of the plate, and Belt gets to it and hits it all the way down into the right field corner. For Belt, That's his 8th double of the season. All of a sudden, the extra base hits coming through, and Belt is going to take the rest of the night off as Nathan Lucas has come in to run at second base.
Whit Merrifield is the batter. Merrifield thought that one was low. It's 0-2. So Danny Young still throwing. Also Kirby Yates, who signed with the Blue Jays a couple of years ago, only to undergo elbow surgery. Never pitched in a regular season game for them. This feels like a good time to get this stat in. Whit Merrifield is 4th in the majors in batting average when he is behind in the count. He is hitting .308 when behind in the count, and that's a great number when you're behind in the count. What do you think makes him particularly good when he's trying to fight back into a count?
I think he's got discipline. I don't think he chases an awful lot, and that allows him to work back into the count.
But not here, as Strider gets his 12th strikeout, and Merrifield with some words for Laz Diaz on one of the earlier calls in the at-bat.
This four-seam fastball as Merrifield is a little bit late. 12 strikeouts, and that's going to be the end of the night for Spencer Strider. He's going to leave this game trailing 1-0. Another terrific outing for the young righty.
Brian Snitker going for the left-hander Danny Young, drafted by the Blue Jays way back in 2015. Went to Cleveland in the Rule 5 draft in 2019. Now an Atlanta Brave. Danny Young in to face Kevin Kiermaier with a runner at second and 2 down.
Danny Young has reverse splits. He's actually more effective against right-handers. He's given up just 1 hit in 9 at-bats to right-handers, but lefties are 3 for 10 against him. This is just his 7th appearance of the season.
Now that's a sweeper.
Big sweeper, but way outside. Not even close enough to offer at. Little drop down sidearm delivery, 78 miles an hour. You got to hang in there.
And it's 3-0.
See, this is a real challenge for a manager because you bring him in here hoping to end the inning and not having him to face Springer. But now he's behind, and Kiermaier probably going to take a couple.
3-1. Chris Bassitt outstanding tonight. 7 scoreless innings, just 2 hits allowed. And that's inside ball 4. So another man on as George Springer comes up.
Well, Springer has the only RBI of the game. They came back in the 5th. The manager brings a guy in, lefty on lefty, and expects him to end the inning.
Right.
And he walks him.
This is where the 3-batter rule has changed the game. If this is before that rule, there's no way that Young faces Springer. But now you got it.
But there's just no way. You know, Young understands the rule. He knows that he's got 1 left-hander and then the top of the order coming up. 3 right-handers in a row, and he missed with 2 bad breaking balls to start the at-bat and then walked Kiermaier.
(2-0) on Springer, who has delivered a run with a base hit back in the 5th. 3-0. Young not close. And Snitker obviously concerned if Young loses Springer, he's going to load the bases for Bo Bichette. And he does. And he's got to face Bichette because he's got to face 3 batters.
Yeah, managers, they make moves and hopeful of getting the resolution they have on their mind, but the pitcher lets them down. As Snitker went to the bullpen, had Kiermaier at the plate, and now 2 walks. It's going to bring the pitching coach Rick Kranitz out. And Kranitz said, man, you put us in a jam here now, and you got to pitch ahead. There's no question about it. You fall behind, and you become very predictable.
Blue Jays hoping to extend the lead here with the bases loaded, 2 down, and Bo Bichette at the plate. Boy, I'll tell you, whether it's Bo Bichette or Matt Chapman, I mean, those guys go over and they pick the brains of the hitting coaches all night long. Here's your reset. Lucas, the pinch runner, at third. Kiermaier at second. Springer at first. And Young has backed himself into a corner here. And that's off the glove of Murphy to the backstop, and a run will come in to score to make it 2-0.
Wow, and that run's going to be charged to Spencer Strider, the starter. And Lucas comes in to score. He took over as a pinch runner for Belt, and this breaking ball hasn't been close.
And Bo a bouncer towards second. Olbies comes to get it. And the Blue Jays are retired, but the Braves do gift them a run here in the bottom of the 7th. It is now 2-0 at the end of 7. We've got a Blue Jays Central update now with Jamie and Joe. So represented Canada at the World Cup and the Olympics and everything else that you can do. Outstanding player. Top of the 8th inning. Chris Bassitt still on the mound. Again, very efficient tonight. The number 8 hitter in the Atlanta lineup, Michael Harris II, is up. And a bouncer stays fair right to Guerrero, 1 down.
Well, Bassitt, we'd mentioned how he threw the ball so well against the Pirates last time out. 7 innings, no runs on 4 hits, but he had 4 walks in that game. He's cut down the walks to just 2, including he hit 2 batters. But he has been terrific tonight. Just 2 hits allowed.
Now Orlando Arcia 0 for 2. There's Kevin Pillar sitting on the bench. He is now an Atlanta Brave. Started off the year, signed a minor league deal, started off the season in the minors, got called up the first week of the year. Playing a lot against lefties, so I would expect we would see him back in the lineup Sunday afternoon when Yusei Kikuchi is on the mound.
Yeah, he's been a good fit for the Braves, as we all know his style of play, and it matches exactly what Atlanta's looking for.
There's a pop-up, shallow left, back goes Bichette, called off by Varsho. And 2 down here in the top of the 8th inning. Jimmy Garcia is up in the Blue Jay pen. If you are just flipping over from the Leaf game, quite a ball game here tonight. Great pitchers duel between Chris Bassitt and Spencer Strider. The Blue Jays got a run in the 5th on an RBI single by George Springer. A run in the 7th on a play that was we were never told whether it was a wild pitch or a pass ball, but either way. And John Schneider has not yet made the move to the pen. He is talking to Chris Bassitt to see how he feels, and he's going to let his starter try to get through the 8th inning.
Yeah, and it makes a big difference that he has a 2-run lead as opposed to a 1-run lead. Ronald Acuna Jr., of course, 7 home runs, lots of power, hitting with 2 outs, and I love this. Leave it to Bassitt. He's been in command the whole night.
First pitch swinging, it's popped up. Vladdy's there. What a job by Chris Bassitt tonight. 8 outstanding scoreless innings. And as you pointed out a couple of times tonight, Buck, these two pitchers went at it in very different ways, but both were very good tonight.
Yeah, they were. And the Braves have not lost a Spencer Strider start this season. He came into the game 4-0. They had won all 7 of his previous starts, and he is out of the game. Danny Young threw a wild pitch that allowed the Blue Jays to score their second run. And now Kirby Yates, in his 14th appearance of the season, he has battled injuries throughout his career. At one point, he was an all-star and led the National League in saves for the San Diego Padres.
Vladimir Guerrero Jr. will lead it off. Vladdy 1 for 3. Had a double his last time up on a ball that Ronald Acuna Jr. couldn't find in the twilight. Guerrero, Varsho, and Chapman here in the bottom of the 8th inning. George Springer feeling a little bit better on base twice tonight, including that big RBI single in the 5th. Offense has been tough to come by here tonight.
Well, this is such an important game to open up this 10-game homestand. First game, you go up against one of the best pitchers in baseball. You're batting in the bottom of the 8th with a 2-run lead. Perfect way to start. Need to finish this one off.
Bounce to third. Riley on to Olsen. 1 down. Blue Jays hoping to put the end of that road trip behind them by starting off the homestand with a win. They are 9-3 at home on the season. They've played the fewest home games of any team in baseball. Here's Dalton Varsho, who is glad to be done with Spencer Strider, who just kept pouring in that high 90s gas, and he struck him out all 3 times. High fly ball deep center, and it is going to go. Number 6 on the season for Dalton Varsho, and it's now 3-0.
The Braves could have brought in Nolan Ryan, and Varsho would have been happy not to have him face Spencer Strider again. But what a good swing he put on that high fastball. It just shows you the difference in velocity. That was the same pitch that Strider had struck him out on, that high fastball, but this time he got on top of it and hits it out of the ballpark. You can see the movement on that pitch, same elevation, different velocity, and Varsho is able to crush it into center. Good swing by Dalton, who had a very good road trip with 343 on the road trip, including 3 home runs and 3 doubles. And that will erase the memory of those 3 strikeouts for sure.
Buck, I think Chris Bassett's coming back out. Our camera folks followed him into the dugout. Didn't see handshakes. He's still pacing around like he does between innings. He's only thrown 91 pitches.
Yeah, his pitch count is in good shape. Romano is throwing a little bit earlier, but now he's just pacing. But he did throw a few pitches at the start of this inning.
Down the left field line, but foul. That extra run, too, gives John Schneider a little bit more leeway, perhaps, in how he wants to go about things in the 9th inning. Chapman chases, 2 down.
Extra run is a big run. The Blue Jays have scored single runs in the 5th, 7th, and now in the 8th. Have that 3-0 lead.
Now Alejandro Kirk looks at a strike. Foul, and it's 0-2. He's still got his game face on.
As far as I can tell, the last complete game, 9-inning game for the Blue Jays came on April 23rd, 2017. They have had 2 other complete games, but both of them were abbreviated games,
right.
7 innings and 4 innings. But the last 9-inning complete game, April 23rd, 2017. Marcus Stroman against the Angels. Through 9 innings, gave up 2 runs, 1 earned run on 7 hits in Anaheim.
And a swing and a miss to get Kirk and end the 8th inning. But the Blue Jays add a run on the home run by Dalton Varsho to make it 3-0. 3-0, I should say. Top of the 9th inning, and the Blue Jays leading 3-0. And Chris Bassitt back on the mound. 2-3-4. Matt Olson, Austin Riley, Sean Murphy due up, and John Schneider is giving Bassitt a chance to finish what he started.
He has certainly earned that right. He has been great all night long. A little bit of a hiccup in the middle innings as he had a tough inning in the 5th. Hit 2 batters and walked a batter, but he was stranding to bases loaded.
Now to play left side. 5 strikeouts tonight for Bassitt. A lot of soft contact, which has really been kind of par for the course for him ever since that first start of the season.
He's only had 1 complete game in his career back in 2021 pitching for Oakland.
Rounded to second. Up with it, Merrifield. 1 down.
You know, we heard Hazel Bay talk about Chris Bassitt's attitude as representing a starting pitcher. This is exactly what he's talking about. By him pitching into the 9th inning, that saves a lot of innings out of that bullpen for the rest of the homestand.
Austin Riley is 0 for 3. Swing and a miss. One and 2. Still mixing, still locating.
Bassitt's
Riley.
only other complete game came against the Angels on May 27th. A 9-inning 2-hitter. He shut out the Angels, walked 1 and struck out 9.
Had to reach for it and got a piece of it. And all of his buddies looking on with great interest here tonight.
This is what every starter strives for.
Got it. 2 down. And out away, Sean Murphy, a guy he pitched to for a couple of years with the A's, tries to get him now to finish it off. Just 2 hits allowed tonight by Bassitt.
He's retired the last 10 he's faced.
0-2. What a sensational performance by Chris Bassitt tonight. A 2-hit shutout against one of the best offensive teams in baseball as the Blue Jays take the opening game of this big homestand by a score of 3-0.
Now, how about the start and the finish for Chris Bassitt? He retired 13 in a row to start the game and retires 11 in a row to finish the game. Terrific all-around effort, maybe one of the cleanest games the Blue Jays have played all season long. Speed came into it, defense came into it, and Chris Bassitt set the tone for a long, important homestand.
What a way to get it started. Bassitt with a 2-hit shutout, and the Blue Jays beat the Braves 3-0. Time to send you to Sportsnet Central now with